The company Axe, which is a very famous deodorant company in the United States, did a survey on 1,000 girls a couple years ago that were aged from around, I believe, 19 to 23. And they asked a lot of questions regarding dating. One of them was on where they wanted to meet their ideal guy and where they wanted to be approached. And surprisingly, bars and nightclubs came up on the bottom of the list. The hottest spots were coffee shops in the lead with 53%, followed closely around 40% and 30% with bookstores, and I can't remember the last one. But the point is, it's very surprising. I mean, a lot of people seem to simply go to bars and nightclubs to meet people, and quite practically, you're probably not going to find your husband or wife who you will choose to spend the rest of your years with at a sort of sleazy style-esque sort of venue like that. And so it does make sense in a way, but it did surprise me. The problem is that's just an opinion, and girls, despite saying they want to meet guys there, rarely do. Another research study found that by and large, the greater majority of girls meet their potential husband or wife through, I would say, it was through friends. Yeah, it was like 73% was through friends. And then from there, everything else was a lot smaller. Some stuff was like through some sort of venue, social event, etc., etc. And at the bottom was bars and clubs. And at the way bottom was online dating. And yet, it's a very strange dynamic. I really feel a lot of girls keep saying that they want to meet guys in the daytime, at a coffee shop, or in a bookstore, at the supermarkets. And in fact, if you look at a lot of online dating profiles, a lot of them will have the tagline, let's just say we met at the coffee shop, or let's just say we met at Costco. Costco is a wholesale supermarket store, if you guys don't know. And so a lot of people are saying these things, but in reality, the truth is, at least for me, no one ever makes any interactions there. Why? Because I've been to coffee shops, and I've been to Starbucks, I've been to all these places, and girls, they're not truly into really meeting people there. In fact, it's kind of strange. And yet at the same time, you get all these surveys saying they would rather meet these people here. And so I think the best strategy for you guys who want advice is simply meet them through friends in the daytime. And I mean, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos on dating advice online and stuff like that, they will say, these girls will say, oh, I would love to meet a guy somewhere in the daytime at Starbucks or a supermarket or whatever. And quite honestly, very, very few guys have the balls to do so. And even for the girl, when it does happen, they're kind of like shocked and sort of weirded out in a way because they're not used to this. And at least for me, I would go to Starbucks and stuff, and first off, there's no girls in there. I mean, occasionally you will get a girl in that age range if you wait like a long time, but most of these places, girls don't go there all the time. It's not like filled with girls, unless you live in like a very populated area. And on top of that, they're not really as receptive as you think to this sort of meeting people in these sort of situations. Why? Because I guess it's just the whole stranger type vibe going. This guy's a stranger, or maybe it's just they think I'm ugly, or something else. Maybe I'm creeping them out personality wise. But for me, it's just very frustrating because these places aren't exactly the ideal place based on my actual experience. So I would recommend simply doing what actually works. And statistics tell you, and by the greater majority, girls meet their potential husband, their actual husband, through friends. So work on expanding your social circle and making friends. And if that's hard, I could do another video on that, but essentially you have to start small. By the way, I'm not too good at that, so I would suggest you don't make a request for me to do a video on that. So yeah, it's just very frustrating. Like Starbucks, all those places, it's not some sort of environment where it's welcoming for you to just hit on a girl. Why? Because usually these places are crowded, there's tons of people nearby, and if you go too direct with a compliment as an opener, it's just, it can be too much sometimes. And sometimes a girl may be receptive in another scenario, maybe if she was alone or at a bar. But when she notices all these other people around who have heard this, she doesn't want to give off the wrong vibe or anything if she's too receptive and everyone sees that. It's just a stigma revolving around American society. So yeah, I don't know, girl viewers out there, leave your comments below. Let me know what your thoughts on this are. I mean, according to these surveys, you say, yeah, I would rather meet guys here than at a party or in the nightlife or at a bar. And at the same time, it's like you're very, very open in real life to meeting people only at the bars and stuff. And when it's actual coffee shop time or supermarket time or whatever, you just it's very hard to get something to work. So I guess, is it truly just down to that you say one thing, but in reality you have different intentions? It's kind of like girls maybe don't really know what they truly want. I don't know. But according to a survey, a bookstore or coffee shop seem to be the highest choices. And so let me know your opinions. I'm sure there's a lot of other factors involved, a lot of things that might alter the situation and skew it in a different direction. And there's obviously different types of girls, millions of different types of girls with millions of different types of opinions on this. And I know for sure some girls will be repulsed by the idea, and they say 100% they would prefer only to meet guys in a bar. And some girls will be 100% in saying, I never go to a bar or nightclub or party, and I would never ever meet guys in these places anyways. I prefer meeting them in a bookstore. And personally, I think it's just retarded, because quite honestly, no one goes to these places to sort of meet people. It's not like a girl goes to a bookstore and says, oh, I hope I'll meet a guy here. Maybe if I go to a bookstore today and pretend to read this book, because I'm not really interested in books, I'm interested in someone meeting me, maybe if I pretend long enough, then some guy will approach me. That never happens. No girls have I ever seen have done that. In fact, very, very few girls seem to even be in bookstores or coffee shops nowadays, despite this survey being so brand new. Well, the survey was a couple years ago. But regardless, it's like it never happens. And on top of that, let's say you do go to these places with those intentions in mind. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys have the same sort of vibe, that you think a guy will never sort of approach you in these situations. I mean, think about yourself. If you're a girl, you're probably thinking, yeah, it's not going to happen even if I wait in a bookstore for 10 hours. It's not that you're ugly, it's not that you have low self-esteem, it's sometimes simply down to the whole stigma environment. You are not expecting to do that because it rarely happens. Guys don't choose to do that in these sorts of events, these sort of places. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if I told a girl, yeah, go to a bookstore or coffee shop and see if a guy will approach you. Guarantee you, she will already say in her mind, yeah, he's not going to approach, even if I wait a week at this coffee shop. And that's just how it is. Sometimes it's not the guy, it's just the environment. Personally, I have approached before, not in a coffee shop or Starbucks. I mean, that's kind of terror. Actually, I've approached a group of girls, 2 girls at it, in a sort of friendly vibe, sort of like, hey, I know you. And basically the conversation, like I just ran out of stuff to say, and they didn't really continue it on. And yeah, it kind of died from there. But yeah, I've approached girls in these sort of venues, and I've found that they're not really expecting it. They're not always that receptive. Quite honestly, they're never that receptive, and it's not like they're that willing. And so, let me know what you guys think. Maybe it's just you think I'm ugly, and you think my personality sucks. And quite honestly, it works for other guys, but not me. Let me know in your comments, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, and as always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe.